I grabbed her phone by mistake. The 2 a.m. voice note wasn't me. I didn't mean to pick up my wife's phone. It was 5:30, dark enough to feel optional, and both our phones were on the kitchen charger like well-behaved pets. I grabbed the one closest to the coffee maker and slid it in my pocket the way you pocket a habit. I didn't notice the lavender case until the train pulled out of the station, and the tunnel swallowed my excuses. My name is Erin, my wife is Mila. I am not a detective. I write copy for outdoor gear, hiking boots that want to be your personality, jackets that pretend to be. Whether Mila runs events for a music venue, she is excellent at arranging other people's nights to look like small miracles. At 7:12 a.m. Mila's phone vibrated in my pocket with a force that felt urgent. A lock screen notification glowed through the case like a secret practicing its lines. 2:03 a.m. voice note from K. Are you still awake? Do not disturb. Was off. I stared at the name, just a letter, the kind of initial that means you've already agreed to the invitation. My stop arrived. The doors opened. I didn't move. I listened, not to the voice note. I am not built for intercepting, but to my own chest, which had been perfectly boring for years. It didn't speed up. It steadied. At work, I set the phone on my desk and angled the screen away like I was being polite. It was impossible not to notice what the phone wanted to tell me, even when it was quiet. A muted thread titled Hotel Plan, a calendar appointment named rehearsal. Middle of a Tuesday at a hotel that does not host rehearsals. I am not a detective, I am a person with eyes. I texted Mila from my own phone, grabbed yours by mistake. ILL, bring it by after work, love you. She replied from mine, huh? I wondered why my thumbs felt clumsy. Can you swing by the venue at 6? You Ray, a lifesaver if you are waiting for me to confess that I pressed play on the voice note. I didn't not because I am noble, I am not, but because I wanted the person I am in my own head to survive. This morning, I put the phone in my drawer and wrote an email about hiking socks that wick moisture like disciplined clouds. When my fingers hesitated, I remembered that even ordinary days deserve sentences. At lunch, I went for a walk. The city kept doing city things, delivery trucks blocking a lane and pretending to be philosophy, a couple arguing gently about avocados. I practiced the conversation I might have with Mila if I were brave. It sounded like a man reading a script he didn't audition for. At 6, the venue smelled like beer, lemon cleaner, and yesterday's guitar solo. Mila stood at the bar counting cash, hair up in a way that always looks like a decision. When she saw me, she lit up like she had rehearsed it. My hero. She said she stood on her toes and kissed me like we were still in the first season of our show. I handed over the lavender case. Our fingers touched, polite as neighbors. How's your day? I asked. Choreographed chaos, she said, pocketing the phone with a casualness I admired. You spelled merino wrong in front of a client, I said, recovered by pronouncing it like I meant it. She laughed. For a second, I could believe nothing in the world existed except this sound, and that we had invented it. She glanced at the stage, shrugged. Want to stay and watch sound check? I said yes, because saying yes has always been our superpower. When the bass kicked and she leaned against me and closed her eyes, the room shook itself into patience. I watched her profile and thought about midnight, about initials that only need one letter, about the way honesty can look like a small disaster at first. When we got home, she showered, humming under the water like steam was a choir. I checked our shared calendar there. It was again rehearsal at the Hudson Hotel. Tuesday, 3 p.m. Hotels don't rehearse. Not the honest way. I didn't say anything. My mouth had decided to be a museum. 2 days later, I gave myself permission to look for something with context on our phone bill. A number repeated like a drumline. 9-minute calls at 1:58 a.m., 2:12 a.m., 2:37 a.m., all to the same contact. The line item didn't say K, it said Cade Weston. I Googled him. Because the internet is a benevolent enemy. He plays guitar in a band that had a moment last summer. He's handsome in the way posters are handsome. He has a smile that trusts lights to love him. Mila and I met Cade at a charity show in May. He was funny and humble. And he spilled beer on his own shoes. He called Mila the only adult in this room after she rearranged the stage schedule to save someone from a minor catastrophe involving a missing snare drum later. He posted a photo from backstage. Mila's shoulder is in it, recognizable only to me because I know that freckle that looks like an ellipsis. A bad story would have me storming into the venue and dragging Cade by his collar. Our story is quieter. When the hotel day came, I took an early lunch and walked to the Hudson. I stood across the street with a takeout coffee I didn't drink and watched the revolving door spin out people who looked like they owed someone an apology. Mila arrived at 2:51 on foot, wearing the dress she calls her pretend. I slept dress. Cade arrived at 2:54, hood up. As if the hood mattered, they greeted each other like people who know better and have asked better to look away. They went inside. I didn't follow. I stayed where I was like a guard who knows the museum will outlive the thief anyway. At 3:22, my phone buzzed. A text from Mila: running late. Vendor is being a diva. Don't wait for me for dinner. I looked at the hotel and then at the text and felt a strange calm that didn't belong to grief or rage. It belonged to clarity. I walked to the river and watched the water be rude to the shore, which is its job. Then I went home and rewired the lamp that had been flickering for months, because something in the house deserved to work when you asked it to. At 8:40, Mila came in like the day had forgiven her. She kissed me and apologized for the vendor and asked about my lamp victory. I made a joke about electricians. She laughed like she meant it and poured wine. We watched a show about people flipping houses. Each time a couple on the screen discovered mold behind a wall, I flinched. Mila didn't notice. I didn't confront her that night. I brushed my teeth next to her and watched her wipe the mirror with a towel, an old habit of hers that felt like loyalty. We went to bed and she fit it against me like a question finding its mark. She slept. I didn't in the morning. I made eggs because eggs require you to stand there and pay attention. Mila came out in a robe and kissed the back of my neck. You ray an angel, she said. I am a man with a pan. I said angels have better hair. She laughed and I felt the sound try to repair things. It didn't know about who's Cade, I asked as if it were a trivia question. I kept my voice in the low register I use when trying not to make the dog nervous in apartments that don't allow dogs. She froze for a flicker, then steadied. Guitarist. She said we book him sometimes. Why? He sent a voice note at 2:03 a.m. I said, keeping my eyes on the eggs, because sometimes you can tell the truth best when you are useful. I grabbed your phone by mistake yesterday. I didn't listen. I am not a saint. I am also not a liar. She said. Oh, she said. And the word had a gravity I hadn't heard in years. She put both hands on the table like she needed it to stop moving. I shouldn't have answered. Going through a mess. I am helping too much. And the Hudson rehearsal, I asked. She closed her eyes, opened them. We had a drink at 3 p.m. I said. At 3 p.m. She confirmed. And then we had another one. And then I kissed him and realized I was terrible and came home and didn't tell you because I wanted to want the right thing again. And I thought silence would help. She breathed out. It didn't. The eggs on the plate looked like an argument that had lost its appetite. Okay, I said. I didn't shout. I didn't